this month's meeting, and we're excited about this topic of AI on the AI course for security, privacy, and governance. Dr. Margaret Leary has been a good colleague of ours for many years, and so a lot of you know her and part of the CAE community in the past. And so Dr. Leary has taught and developed curriculum for IT and cybersecurity for over 28 years at various institutions in Washington, D.C. region, and has more than 35 years experience consulting and working in IT and cyber fields. She also presently consults for the ASRC Federal, serving as a cybersecurity subject matter expert and senior cybersecurity policy advisor in several federal agencies. And so she's going to showcase her course that she designed on AI, cybersecurity, privacy, and ethics. So, Margaret, I'll turn it over to you, and thank you again for being here.
All right. Well, thank you. I am going to share my slides. Oops. Okay. And while I am at it, I'm going to turn off my video, largely because I've taken my glasses off to be able to see my notes. So, all right. So, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for allowing me to present. I think, Stephen, you addressed everything I was going to address here on this first slide. I apologize in advance. They picked now to mow my lawn. I have asked my husband to go out and chase them off of the yard if they do come up here. But as you mentioned, I have over 35 years. I always knock off about 5, maybe 10 years experience so that I don't look like a dinosaur to my students here. But I've actually been in IT since I was in high school. When it was computer science, but it was 1974. But in any case here, in my practice here in the DC area, with the rapidity with which AI has grown, and our users are all eager, our developers are eager to develop to it, our users are eager to use commercial sites in it, and there's a dearth of AI policy. It's actually, you would think it'd be somewhat easy to craft an AI policy, but it's taken one agency that I support over 2 years and they haven't even gotten close to it. So, and you can't blame them because a lot of this is because the landscape, the legislative landscape changes so rapidly. So I felt that, this course addressed those concepts, the very the governance concepts that cybersecurity professionals, information system security officers, that they need in making certain that the implementations, the use of these tools are inspected for risk, and that risk is then managed. So that said, I'm going to go ahead and move forward here through these slides. Oops, maybe I am. There we go. All right. So the way I have this structured is just simply that, I'm going to give some information about why this course, why now, and then address the modules. There are 10 modules within this course available for individuals freely from the Clark Center is where it's hosted at present here, and then talk about some of the updates to the contents within here. As I said, this is a rapidly evolving technology. It's a rapidly evolving legislative landscape, and so difficult to keep up with that in something that's so statically posted. So again, AI is really not considered an emerging technology. We've got it embedded in our infrastructure, in the tools, and this leads to some of the confusion on the parts of the users that I've seen, and that many of them don't intentionally try to violate policy by downloading and using some of these browser-based tools like ChatGPT without understanding the risk of putting content in there that might have sensitive information, and that content then being shared from within that tool to others. So education really hasn't kept pace with these risks. And so the course, of course, responds to that gap by giving students an applied understanding of all of the privacy, security, and these ethical threats that are posed by AI, along with some of the governance framework that are available to us to help mitigate some of the risks. So the course's title, you can find it, AI Security, Privacy, and Governance Concepts. As I mentioned, it's designed as a 10-module curriculum. It's got hands-on labs, assessments, real-world case studies. The labs are not geared for the software developer. Again, this is more geared for somebody that has a prerequisite of maybe Security Plus or some basic cybersecurity principles. And so you can use the course either as an elective, it could be in a concentration track. It includes, I drafted instructor materials, and there are labs there. Each module is accompanied by not only the labs and also the instructor notes, but also 20 question assessments, and then generally assignments, anywhere from 1 to 3 to 4 assignments consisting of case studies, the exercises, the labs that I mentioned. And then of course the slide decks within all of those too. And there's also team-based case analyses and scenario-driven reflections as well. So it's it'll fill up a semester. There is some content that again, I only have 10 modules, so you've got room for exams, and you've got room for adding other content as well. And so while the course introduces the student to some of the more technical concepts within AI, the machine learning concepts, and different types of models, it's not sufficient for teaching an AI software development course. I tell folks, I'm not really a software developer. I only play one on TV. And so, it's designed to really illustrate the issues that surround bias, discrimination, transparency. I believe in eating my own dog food, so to speak. So I did heavily leverage AI as I was drafting notes, and of course, checking the validity of that content. And the funniest part of it are the illustrations that I was asking AI to provide to me, because I to be quite frank, it's really a pain in the butt to have to cite all of the illustrations and content, etc. But literally, I say it literally graphically illustrates some of AI's limitations with these. But anyway, so the course is also aligned to Bloom's taxonomy. It starts, with the foundational knowledge, progresses towards analysis, evaluation, and it aligns. I think Clark had aligned it to the NSA CAE KU domains. I've got some of the content aligned within our program as well in ethics, policy, law. And so it supports some of those nice roles like privacy analyst, AI risk analyst, any type of risk analyst here, as well as your governance department and governance leads here. So as I mentioned, again, Security Plus would be advisable, or any type of entry-level course that addresses that, so that it allows the student then to dive into some of the more advanced concepts like risk assessments and how to manage those risks here without exhaustively first defining those concepts. So I piloted this as well in one of my own 300 level risk courses at Mount St. Mary's. So here's a list of the learning objectives. Obviously understand the basic fundamentals of the history, the fundamentals of AI technologies, the applications, take a deeper dive into the ethical considerations of this, the security vulnerabilities, as well as privacy challenges. Probably the most difficult part of this course, because it was a moving target, was evaluating the legal and regulatory frameworks for AI. And of course, understandably, given that our administration has rolled over, we also, again, I have some changes. I have to make some updates to the course with respect to the regulatory frameworks that are available, including one that impacted one of my one of my most favorite exercises, and that is the risk assessment. So I'll talk about that in a second here. So what I thought I'd do is just go through the 10 modules here briefly in that and just address what each module, how it's structured and what's within each module. So in this first lecture, it's just simply an introduction to AI. I address the history, the significant milestones. We just basically, or briefly rather, distinguish between the different types of AI: narrow, general, superintelligence. Students also in the assignments, there's a couple of assignments in here to look at real world use cases, facial recognition, chatbots, recommendation systems here. And so this really is designed to sort of set the stage for, moving forward here, but we do touch on some of the hallucinations and bias and things like that. So it's got a case study, as well as a small little 1 to 2 page paper that's required of the student. So moving into the next week with the module 2, the lecture 2, or however you have it structured. You may have an 8-week course. But in any case, with module 2, this is designed to introduce the student to really more of the technical underpinnings, machine learning methods, supervised, unsupervised. The first bullet here, the OECD framework for classifying AI systems, is introduced here, but primarily as a tool for how do you classify these systems. And then we also address the data pipelines and the infrastructure that's powering AI, open source libraries, the network requirements, hardware, as well as software, and introduce the student to some of the software tools, as well as some trends. And the activities here, the students are asked to classify an AI system using the OECD framework, and then also there's a case study here. Moving into module 3 for the AI in society, now we start to look at the real world impacts of AI. Oops, did that? Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, and I have the societal risk. It looks like I didn't update my slides. By the way, I fought with this slide presentation because, again, eating my own dog food, I asked my good buddy ChatGPT to find a solution for me, or find a good recommendation for some free, I'm into free, some free templates for AI. And so this is what they gave me. But it's a good one. Now, you'll see in the last slide, of course, I had to leave the credits there. That was the requirement from the developer. So, okay. But, free is good, but it doesn't run on my other system. So I'm having to use my older laptop here. But anyway, so within here, we look at the real world impacts. We look at the environmental risks, the resource consumption that's associated with AI, the e-waste, the mining. Also, we examine some of the biases in environmental decision making. We then start to address, and we address it again, some of the AI surveillance issues, as well as weaponized AI. Oops, I'm my notes here. Hang on, don't rush me. Yeah, and so we've got the weaponized AI, implications of oops, sorry here. I've got two systems going at one time here, and I'm getting myself all messed up here. There we go. All right, move that. Yeah, the implications of AI-powered decision making. And so we have a case study within here, as well as an AI impact assessment simulation. Oops, come on. Sorry. There we go. Here was the module I think that gave me the biggest grief. And again, keeping it updated. I was initially going to separate this into U.S. Uh, legislation and then international law, but it just didn't lend itself to two larger uh, lectures. So I combined the two here. And so we do look at both, but we address existing US laws, how they apply or how they don't apply. We look at the FTC regulations on deceptive practices, discrimination, product liability, as well as copyright challenges and intellectual property components. And sort of lays the groundwork for us for understanding where policy gaps exist. But again, it's a bit of a moving target. I do have to make some updates as some of the new executive orders and new mandates that have come out of the president's office have resulted in updates to federal policy. So there's two case studies that I developed here, as well as an activity, sort of a design a law for AI. Module 5, halfway through, Module 5 are AI security issues. And so this is a more technical discussion here. We cover the breaches, adversarial attacks, look at AI both from an attack perspective as well as the security benefits of AI. So we first take a look at AI-powered cyber attacks, discuss the deep fakes, synthetic media, and then we go into discussing the security benefits, looking at how AI supports threat detection, looking at incident response. I think this is an area where we're going to see a lot of movement eventually. Right now, we see a lot of AI integrated in with threat detection, not so much with incident response, but as we push more for more automation within our systems, I think we're going to see that be one of the areas that rapidly grows. And then also, of course, the predictive analytics. And then we just take a look at best practices for implementing or integrating security, as well as security tools that the student can be introduced to. And so within here, we have one case study for the students, as well as two activities where largely they're reporting on different AI security breaches. We delve into AI privacy issues. And so when we look at privacy, our privacy concerns, we're looking at the re-identification of anonymized data, looking at mass surveillance. We introduce privacy enhancing technologies, PETs, like differential privacy. And then we also have discussions on what are some of the privacy regulations, such as GDPR, EU's GDPR. We can also talk about, local GDPR. I know Virginia has their GDPR. Look at HIPAA, and then look at other state regulations here. And so there's a case study here as well as a EULA activity. I typically will make all of my students any of my security students walk them through a EULA activity. With Module 7, we delve into more deep dive into the ethical issues here. And so, here we're looking at ethical issues that surround the development of AI, the responsibilities of AI creators, developers, to anticipate, mitigate potential harms. Here's where we again delve into the OECD for the AI principles. Students are asked to evaluate fairness, accountability, transparency, robustness. We also will bring out NIST's 800-218A which is geared toward the software developer, secure software development practices for generative AI and dual use foundation. I'm always surprised at my colleagues who teach software engineering, but never seem to integrate some of these secure development resources that we have available through NIST into their courses here. We also look at and one of the areas that I find in practice is important is the procurement issues surrounding AI here. And, look at other situations as well, But we have here a framework comparison for one activity, best practices checklist, and then also a case study where the students can actually apply the 800 218A and the OECD AI guidelines. Slide 3, I'm sorry, slide 3, module 8 here, AI governance and risk management is just an exploration really of how an organization can develop an internal governance program. And so here we talk about the principles and practices of AI risk management and governance, and their importance in making sure that these tools are safe and ethical as we use them here. But we also look at the NIST AI Risk Management Framework, the AIRMF. And within the AIRMF, it breaks down, how do we establish a governance board? How do we, what roles are there? The responsibilities of those roles? What are the steps to managing AI risk within the organization? And here is, again, one of my favorite exercises, and I make students in a lot of my different courses actually walk through this when I talk about risk. But we perform a risk assessment. This is the area that, Michael, I need to send some updates to you and then also to Clark here, because when the administration took over, what we found is that they rolled back a lot of the previous administration's directives in establishing safe environments for AI in favor of they didn't want to compromise or slow down the innovation from AI. And as a result, this risk assessment that I have students do uses a wonderful resource from the Department of Energy, where the Department of Energy had actually defined all of the different risks, ethical risks, transparency, everything. And I would have the students walk through that. And of course, I was very dismayed to find that that had actually been removed from the Department of Energy site. However, very grateful to the Wayback Machine, the Internet Archive, because it's up there still. And so I just have to change the link to that, and I'll get that done. But anyway, the AI risk assessment is a little bit involved, and so it's the only activity that students have in this module. And then, the business considerations, probably one of the modules where it might be beneficial for the instructor to sort of flesh this out a little bit. It does offer up the advantages to AI adoption, task automation, which is important to us, not only with this application, of course, with all of our applications and managing zero trust architecture, which is another concept that I include in my secure design course here, but also business process reengineering. I didn't feel like writing the whole thing on my slide here. We talk about the economic benefits to organizations using AI to drive innovation, and then also address the best practices using the FTC's business practice guidelines here. And then the last module here discusses emerging trends. Again, obviously an area that by the time this was published, it was probably already out of date. But we do delve in all of these topics that you see underneath: emerging trends, explainable AI, federated AI, quantum computing, and AI as well. And then we start to look at some of the challenges too. And some of these challenges are going to be played out legally with autonomous systems, of course, self-driving cars, those types of things, the intellectual property issues that, will continue to grow. We talk about AI in healthcare, within medical diagnostics, robotic surgery, the accuracy in diagnoses, healthcare costs as well. And then AI legislation. I support an organization that has a lot of attorneys. And so this is one of the concerns that I see with one of the things that I felt compelled to address in the course. And that is, the AI curated case references for attorneys. They're not always accurate. I bring up a case in which one of the attorneys, I forget, it wasn't for our agency, of course, it was for a private firm, but their company had been sued because they were building their cases using AI. But it's very important that you don't, inadvertently disclose sensitive client information when you're going out and looking for support through using some of the tools. We talk about the arts, the next generation of AI, to be able to create musical compositions, novels, biographies, of course, and then that, of course, gets into some of the intellectual property issues where it's creating its own issue of intellectual property ownership. And then also, we talk a little bit about software development, AI, and from my discussions with industry leaders, AI largely responsible for the development of code and the development of new programming languages. And what does that mean, to some of our software engineering programs that we have? There is a final paper that the student is expected to write where we do talk about, or the student discusses exploring current and future trends in artificial intelligence. And of course, one of the issues that I think all of us as faculty deal with is the use of AI to produce papers. And I will say that I actually have, in my capstone, I do require the students to use ChatGPT or other AI tools to help craft a topic that they'll cover. And then also get some initial references that they have to augment as well here. But it's interesting times, right? So here are the planned course updates that I have for us in that, again, these administrative updates to these memorandums. And so, the first being that the Biden executive order that's mentioned in the course has now been rescinded. We also, and that was the EO on safe, secure, trustworthy development and use of AI. And so since then, in April, we've had, uh, you know, two significant memorandums that I'm dealing with in practice here, accelerating federal use for AI through innovation, governance, and public trust. Um, and so these all have requirements for federal government in what they're expected to do within 180 days. But it mandates, as an example, the appointment of chief AI officers to oversee AI integration. It does emphasize transparency and accountability in AI applications as well. But yes, but agencies are directed to remove barriers to AI adoption. The M2522 is another one that needs to be integrated into the course, driving efficient acquisition of artificial intelligence on government. And this one replaced one of Biden's in M2418, but it provides guidance on the procurement of AI. So that needs to be integrated into that section of the course here. But it talks about efficiency, interoperability, American made IA, it prioritizes American made IA as well. And then there's another executive order that was signed into law January 23, 2025 here, and that is removing barriers to American leadership in artificial intelligence. And so this is the one that had revoked the Biden executive. And this deregulates a lot of the policies that were perceived as being hindrances to AI innovation, calls on the National AI Action Plan to maintain global leadership, and it review of existing policies. So this one actually predated the other two. And then the other one here, I mentioned the update to the DOE, Department of Energy, AI risk management playbook, uh, to point it over to the Internet Archive. And then also just to address some of the developments within AI, agentic AI, that AI systems are moving into, that they can autonomously plan, make decisions, take actions without benefit of direct prompts, and not just generate content. So these are areas that hopefully within the next 3 months, I will go ahead and get updated into the course. And meanwhile, of course, you're welcome to reach out to me. And with that, I just, anyone have any questions? Oh, do we have, I was going to ask Michael, did you get answers to the survey? Okay, all right. So 68% have already integrated AI into their course. I'm interested with this. Are those what courses has it been integrated? Is it more in software engineering, or is it into more basic cybersecurity concepts?
Well, I can address one that the Mescalero High School, for their Gen Cyber, this summer, they're doing artificial intelligence explorers for the middle school. And so they're just uh, reviewing with the students how they can explore AI with hands-on activities, like looking at a quick draw game, and then also they're doing some stuff with chat and music AI, and then ethics and virtual reality. And then they have a final project that they have to do with AI, either image modeling, chat bot, or ethical concepts that result in group posters, presentations, and a VR demonstration for those. So I think that we need to work early on getting the students in K through 12 and
Mm-hmm.
understanding this. And we've incorporated cyber into all of these Gen Cybers at the Mescalero K through 12 Gen Cyber Camp. So that's kind of how we've been using it, and it's kind of supported by, it is part of our outreach to the Native American population for insight is one of our goals. So
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm seeing a lot of good ideas within the chat too. So,
yeah, uh, if someone wants to go off a mute and talk, that's fine. You can do that if you have any. Uh, so I see, yeah, several good ideas. There was a, I think, let's see, you talked about the business uh, process engineering capability of AI. That's, I think, a key to businesses is to looking at their process, and especially if you're looking at re-engineering. And have you seen a lot of work in that area? Have you got a lot of good resources that maybe we could that you could include in your
what was that again, Stephen? I
for
was,
business process re-engineering?
oh, it's been a while since I um, have done a deep dive into BPR. At one point, it was almost like, the whole total quality management, TQM push
Right.
that we
Yeah.
had. You get these buzzwords that go along for every couple of years, and so BPR was one that was floating around. The only thing that I would say that these that I've seen would be like the FTC guidelines, the NIST guidelines that we have, in that those provide us with a lot of the foundational processes that should be integrated into an organization for AI strategy. And so those are right now the frameworks that I would use if you're integrating it into trying to update your processes that you have. I was busy reading Christina's response here, in that they've proposed the AI fundamentals, governance, privacy. There is a couple of different certifications. One of the certifications I hold is the Certified Information Privacy Professional through the International Association of Privacy Professionals, and it's not a large membership for that certification. It's very niche, but it's also one that you see requested a lot of times of cybersecurity professionals, especially policy, governance, risk management professionals. And they have a new certification. It is AI governance professional, I think it is. It's the AIGP. And so they have training over that, and they also have a certification that individuals can pursue. That my project manager achieved. Of course, my project manager has 35 certifications, which I can't even imagine trying to update all the CPEs for that. So, but it's one that I would recommend that people who are interested in this aspect of policy and governance management pursue.
I thought that was interesting about you mentioned the Department of Energy and their risk management plan. There's a AI cyber conference coming up in June here in Houston for the energy sector, and that was one of their key topics was using AI in their risk assessments, and so.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they need to. Um, Last time I checked, it was still out there on the Internet Archive. If you just do a search for the actually, I think on that link, but for the DOE AI RMP, and I can track that down. I can send the link to you, but it is it's one that I make my students use when they're doing the AI risk assessment, because it's so detailed on the different risks that have been identified, both in development as well as ethics and uh, all of the other issues.
Yeah, please send me that link, and maybe we can send it out as well as part of
Oh, that'll be good.
our
Yeah.
feedback, because I think that would be interesting, and it'll be interesting to see how they talk
Yes.
about that, since it's not part of it's not, I guess, officially supported now. Is that true or not?
Well, the link, it's not. I was hoping that it's only because they are reviewing, the contents of it, but I believe that it was removed largely because they didn't want to have anything that would unnecessarily impede innovation.
Okay.
And so I think they took it off. I'm hoping that they'll put it back up there. I actually had one of my students in a PhD program. Um, Works for the DOE, and he was very disappointed when it disappeared. So I'll, just I'm trying to keep an eye on it, and see what happens with it. But it's
Okay.
still available on the Internet Archive. So
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the members, the audience?
I don't know if
Oh,
you've already mentioned this, Margaret, but the course is available on Clark Center in the modules, correct?
yes, yeah, it is available. I did access it the other day on Clark,
I'll find
yeah,
the link.
and so maybe that's the link that we could send out as well.
yeah. I've seen it on Clark. So okay. Thank you, Margaret. This has been really informative, and I look forward to. I'm not really teaching anymore, but I'm not fully or developing classes or integrating those. But I'm going to push this with others with my network of contacts, so that they know about this
Oh,
this
sure.
course. So thank you.
Well, I don't get paid on the basis of who's using it or how many
Oh, I
hits it
know.
gets, but
No,
you know,
Clark's a
it was fun
great
to
resource.
it was fun to put together. I enjoyed it. So and plus that it gives me content for my own classes.
Can I ask a question real quick since we got a good pool of faculty on this call?
Yes.
So one of the trends that I'm beginning to sense, so at my college, I'm at a community college, and we have a cybersecurity program as well as a computer science program. And we already have enrollment, active registration for summer and fall classes. And what I'm seeing happening on our college, I'm kind of sensing this, it seems like our fall computer science introductory courses have a lower than normal enrollment. And I'm suspicious that AI concerns is having an impact in our programming attractiveness. It sounds like the next generation of new incoming freshmen seem to be shying away from computer science because they see AI as a threat. Is anyone else sensing that, or I'm trying to be proactive and understand what the next trend is as far as our college enrollment and our technology courses.
Have you looked at your cybersecurity
Our
degree
cyber
program?
is our cyber is strong.
Is
It's
it
actually,
stronger though?
yes, it's doing,
Is
our
it
cyber program is doing phenomenal.
because oftentimes what I found is that many times students going into community college, going into four-year schools, don't really understand what computer science is. And, you know, when they realize that, what is it? I think in a study I did, 85% become software engineers who graduate with computer science degrees. When you begin to offer cybersecurity programs that are more IT focused in general, a lot of times that is going to bleed off enrollments from the computer science track.
I see.
You know, the other issue could be, of course, if there are economic issues, although community colleges tend to actually have stronger enrollments when you have economic downturns, but that could also be.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think that historically, 2 years ago, our computer science program would be literally fully impacted, fully closed. All the sections would be really strong. And I had a high school advisory meeting yesterday, and the high school teachers were also mentioning that students are not electing AP computer science anymore at the high schools. So they're seen at the high school. So then I
Mhm.
said, wow, it sounds like it could be the population dwindling. You know, that's part of it as well, I'm sure. But then I think the AI threat seems to be having an impact on that next
Although
generation.
although I think you could contend that at that level, they perhaps are not aware of the AI threat to software engineering, disciplines. So, I would look first to see if there's a correlation in an increased enrollment in cybersecurity as opposed to computer science, and that might point it. And it may be just that students are better placing themselves into probably where they need to be based on what their real interest is, what they know, about the disciplines.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for the feedback.
I'm just gonna say I was in a conversation a few weeks ago with some high school computer science teachers, and the fact that students can use AI to do some coding, that there's a
Mm,
factor to that also, that drop off
yeah,
in computer science. So that's something you
yeah,
guys
that's
need, we're gonna
interesting.
have to look at, the impact of how coding and some of these fly-by-night programs that advertise on TV um, take away from academia also. So
Hmm.
those are factors. Those are definite factors in the transfer from high school to computer science programs in the colleges.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, there's a question in the chat. Is the course, let's see, is the course or will it be online? If it is, when and what time I can attend? So really it's, the course is on Clark. It has to be downloaded. So if you're a student and you're looking to take this course, Margaret, I guess they could take it through where you're teaching it online.
Yeah, you may be able to. I mean, I don't know that we offer many online courses, but I'd have to check on that. I mean, obviously online through Zoom is fine, but I'm not sure. We have the Mount St. Mary's has a very small uh, cyber contingent of students. I think we've got about 25 students in our program at the moment. Um, so I don't offer the course full blown as you see here. I tend to cherry pick content because in my risk management course, I cover supply chain risk management. I cover, it's a secure design course, so I cover zero trust architecture and I cover AI as well, AI risk management. So, and so what you know might do is looked, I guess somebody I saw in the chat is developing a curriculum or developing a program. Where was it? Was that wasn't Christine? Was it? Who
Trying to
there it
see.
is. Yeah, Christina Saunders is integrating a course or practical AI fundamentals, governance, privacy, and ethics courses. And of course, there are free courses through, non-credit bearing through Coursera.org as well. So,
Christine's would Christine, she would be at Wacom Community College, so you could go
okay.
there and look at that class.
Yeah. And that would be a good one to do, an online option, I'm sure.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'm trying to find the course at the Clark Center right now as we're on this call. I under the search query, what would I enter under the search query?
Enter the title of the course,
Dropped a link in the
AI
chat.
governance
AI
and
governance. Thank you.
did that come up for you?
There's a link in the chat.
Oh, good. Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Oh,
Yep,
I see it.
okay.
Thank you. I see it now.
Great.
It only has two documents, course description and AI content table of.
Right.
Within each of the modules are the slides, the assessments, the instructor notes. So they're broken down by module. So you should see 10 modules within there.
Yeah. So usually
And then each
you
of the assignments are also, and the case studies are also in its own respective module.
so there's a download button on the right-hand side of the, usually in Clark, and you can download those zip files, and then you can unzip it and look at the modules and the slides and all of that stuff.
And I'm not responsible for the graphics it gave me because I asked it for an image of a robot doctor because I wanted to show that, we're advancing into where our doctors will be robots, AI robots. And instead initially it gave me exactly what I asked for. It showed a robot up on a examination table being examined by a doctor. Garbage in, garbage out.
So that's one of the things we're going to do at the Gen Cyber is making sure students ask the right questions.
Yeah. You learn the hard way.
Okay, well, I think we're getting close to the end. See, there's something please tell us what topic you want to hear. Yeah, okay, that's Mike. Mike put that survey in the chat. So please fill out the survey. It helps guide these topics for the monthly member meeting webinars. We appreciate your feedback. And so AI has been one of those big topics that we're trying to address. And like we mentioned, we'll have another topic next month from John Sands. All right, Margaret, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you again. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing everybody. Hopefully I'll start to see more of you at the CAE meetings once my applications, hopefully go through.
Okay.
I'm making an assumption there. We don't know.
We have confidence. Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
You too.
Bye-bye.